Okay guys, so welcome back to Brotherhood Outdoors. We're trying to get the videos going on here again. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the previous one. I'm back here with my buddy Jeshua on his little piece of property that he hunts. And so what we're trying to do, obviously the both of us, is create better property structure, be able to kill better deer. And in the past, he's never had problems, at least having encounters with good deer. Yeah. But in the last year or two, he's kind of noticed the trend is going a little bit backwards since it's been like 5 years since we've done anything.
More,
maybe more. So he's gonna go through and explain kind of what we've been working on today and how that's going to improve the deer hunting for him, hopefully, in the coming seasons.
Okay guys, so basically what my goal was is I wanted to not necessarily thicken up the woods, but I wanted to create more visual blocks, windbreaks, and areas where the deer can kind of get a little bit less of the social pressure from each other. So there can be deer on this side of the hinge cuts, there can be deer on this side, but also I'm gonna put food up here and I'm gonna have bedding down here. The reason I'm putting the bedding on the west side of the property is because our wind always blows to the east. And if I was to have the bedding on this side and the food over here, I'd have to sit over here and then the wind would bust them out every time on my way in. So what we're doing here is we're creating a hard line to create
basically just an edge that isn't for deer to bed under. It's not for them to really freely look through. It's to create a very visual structure through the property.
I just kind of put this here so we could break up the bedding from the food and the other types of structure we're going to have out here. So this one was just my hard line. From here over is going to be food and other types of structure. From here over is going to be bedding, windbreaks. What we're going to do is we might do another row in between this one and the edge of the woods. And then after that we'll do a few clear cuts. I'm going to throw some pines in and some grasses. But for here, for now, is everything's about waist height across here. And in the summer, this will get shoots that go up off the top of these trees that are laying down. And everything will get really thick and it'll be a great windbreak. The wind's always blowing to the east, like I said. And this will allow for a good opportunity for the deer to be in here late season and not freeze their butts off.
To be clear, there's going to be some people, let's say you hunt like Iowa or Ohio or whatever, and you're in areas where there's not a lot of hunting pressure and you like to hunt wide open woods so you can see a long ways to get a shot. When you're hunting smaller properties that are near a lot of other places and people that hunt, it's a lot more important to take the 20 acres of timber you do have and multiply it to feel like it's 100 acres because it's dense, it's got more structure, and it's divided up the way you want it so you can kind of control the movement of the deer and hold deer without deer busting each other off because there's too much pressure or it's just too open, they don't feel safe. Or not to mention you got neighbors looking in the fall or when you get a fresh snow and they can see your deer and you're 200 yards to the woods. So, you know, there's a lot of different reasons. But just to kind of explain why we're going through so much work to shoot deer.
Well, because essentially this is a 8-acre patch of woods surrounded by fields. And when it's all open, if you take a look around, everywhere but right here is extremely open. And it hunts more like 1 acre of woods because you step in on the other side and they can see you. Or you step in over there and they'll see you. So what we're doing is,
and this is supposed to help with that.
We're basically going to do, the end goal is a grid of these hinge cut lines with other kinds of vegetation in between. Another thing is, we aren't killing these trees. These hinges actually stay alive, so they become leafy and all this stuff. If you watched his other Brotherhood Outdoors videos, you'll know. And yeah, so we're going to do grids all the way through. It'll break it up. There'll be lots of little sections the deer can be in and hopefully be able to house up to like 30-40 deer just on 10 acres of woods. And
if you do it the right way,
that's an extremely high number.
You can do it if you do it right.
It's an extremely high number. You got to have the food, but we have plenty of ag. So basically all we really need is a bunch of bedding. If I was allowed and this was my property, I'd cut all the trees down, waist height, shoulder height, and everything above a deer's head doesn't matter anyways. So that's what we're doing. We cut it all the way to that edge. We're gonna go do another one in there. We did some bedding on the backside. You wanna go look at that and explain them?
Yeah, we can explain that. You can also kind of show them your concept over here. So what he created over here, there's a natural flow of movement through the property that the deer pretty much always stuck to, pretty much since his parents bought it, how long ago now, like 10 years or so? I don't know, it's been a while. But anyway, so there's a natural way of movement which is pretty much through here. And we don't want to completely screw up all the deer movement, but he does want to have more control over them. So he's trying to create basically an edge on both sides. And we haven't cleaned this up yet, but to where the deer can funnel through out to here. And he's going to food out here to try to create a staging area and to slow them down and just to hold them, you know what I mean? But then essentially, other than this main exit and one he's putting down about another 80 yards, there's going to be pretty much no way for the deer to easily you know, path of least resistance pass through any of this edge, and that's intentional, so that the deer don't, you know,
we just
unpredictably walk through the property.
We just want to direct the traffic for the deer. So this is going to go like this way, and it's going to veer off a little bit in front of a swamp we have and go to the corner of the woods where another tree line comes in. It's kind of a travel point. And then any deer that will enter from the main cornfield here won't be able to just run to this side if they want or go to that side. This will direct the traffic, and they'll feel calm because they'll have side cover, they'll feel hidden, and then there'll be food as well as, like I said, when the wind's blowing. So it'll be trying to create the perfect storm of things. You want everything to be, you want food, cover, cover from the rain, wind, anything like that. Also, the big thing.
Tell them about the fact that that creates so much more food in the first place.
When you take these canopies down, you create so much more sunlight that will hit the ground and woody browse all over the place, and just tons and tons of it. More than you could do if you were just planting rows of clover or anything out here. And it's actually way better for your forest. It's better for all the small animals. It's better for the deer. So anybody that's really worried about all the trees, we're actually helping it out.
Yeah.
As well as any of these trees we leave will get bigger. They're less choked out by the sun.
The camera might not do the justice.
What we also did was any of the big dead trees that had fallen over, that just had big limbs hanging off, we cut them flat so they were on the ground so the deer could travel with ease. So like you can see this all here, there's one big edge and the deer will follow that, as well as bed on the sides of it if there's enough wind cover.
Yeah, the deer might bed under that, which wouldn't be horrible.
So right here is the other area that the deer can walk through. We haven't done a bunch of hinging to connect the trails yet or to the field yet or anything like that, but this is where it kind of naturally happens, so we decided we're going to leave it.
Just so you guys can get a visual of kind of what the goal was of it.
It's on the edge of the hinges we just did?
Yeah, just look straight over top the line that we get to see it.
And right here's a pretty good view.
You can see how dense that edge. Yeah, it's
So if you can imagine, I mean, I know it's hard to tell, but all those crowns like that, we basically created a 4-yard wide bush.
just all the way through the middle.
All the way through, and all the new little sprouts that will come off of these, the deer can eat, and they actually do eat them.
Yeah, not to mention the new green forage that'll come up around it.
Yep. But anyways, there's corn, there'll be beans there next year. I mean, it's just gonna be, there's plenty of food, so really the main thing we want is wind cover. That was my biggest goal, was I wanted the wind to not be ripping through here because it's so cold. We don't hold any deer over the winter. Even though there's plenty of food left out in that field, there's plenty of food in other places, we don't hold any deer because the wind blows through here too fast.
It just gets too open.
It's just way too open. Like a deer could bed here and the social pressure from other deer on the other sides would just leave. So that's what we're doing. Breaking the property up, making it hunt bigger, making it feel like 30 acres of woods instead of the 8 that it really is. Okay, so where I am right now is just on the west side of that hinge cut line, and I want everything here to be bedding, but right now we have primary buck bedding right here. The thing with buck bedding is when they have their velvet on, you don't want them to be getting their racks stuck in branches and shrubs and all that because it'll cut them and they'll just leave. So what we did was we cut everything at least 6'5" or higher, and this one's about 6 feet, but that way the deer can walk through here, head up. They have cover above. There's already cover on the sides.
On the edge, right side there, on the edge, that is also part of the structure for the area.
So we're not, generally just a canopy isn't a great idea because they need the side cover, but since we're creating side cover on either sides, we have a little bit of canopy cover as well, and this way it's still high enough to where the bucks can sprint through here, not ruin their velvet, and hopefully it'll all work out. If it doesn't, we'll get lots of new saplings growing up and we can redo it again in a couple of years. So all this right here, I want to make it all bedding of some kind. I want to stripe grasses through here, some pines, we're going to do some clear cuts, and just basically just overall habitat improvement. The worst thing you can do for your woods is do nothing. They overgrow, the crowns choke each other out. Even these big trees, they're probably not going to get much bigger unless you take 4 trees out on either side. You want to have the space for the crown on each side of it again. So basically a lot of these trees are too crowded anyway, so you just want to free up the trees so the trees can grow better, but also it helps out the deer. So it's not all just hack attack the woods. At first my parents were like, no, don't do it, but now that they've seen the research.
Like, wait, does this mean more venison and better tree growth?
More venison, better tree growth, more all kinds of things. Actually,
so the species of trees you want is the goal.
And we mainly did maple. We might have snuck some other junk trees in there, basswoods, but also another big thing with this is turkey habitat improvement. Because the turkeys love the little greenery that grows on the ground.
And it's tough to get a turkey to come around here.
Yeah.
Unless the recipe is just right.
Right, so my goal is, I'm not gonna try to burn it all right now. We're gonna get all the hinges done. My goal is to do a forest floor burn, and that also frees up the soil. There's no more leaves covering it. The sunlight can hit it and more things will grow. Now naturally I'll have to kind of make some fire breaks along that hinge cut and all my other hinge cuts so it doesn't kill the trees, because the heat will, since they're laying on the ground now. But that'll be another video,
even if you don't do this area yet this year, or you do a different section, there's tons of it that still needs done. So
basically I want to do all this with more rows and more bedding. Yeah, so that's what we did today, just in a couple hours. His little chainsaw, probably the best habitat improvement tool you could ever buy, and that hook you have as well. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was the habitat hook, which if you watch other habitat guys on YouTube, you'll know where I bought it from, because that's where I bought it from. It's called the habitat hook. But is that pretty much it for today? That sums it up pretty much?
Yeah, that's what I'll continue to do for the next few days probably, is just make my rows. I'll do some east to west, so that way the woods, they can only see so far, and it just makes the woods hunt bigger, feel bigger.
So anyways guys, that's gonna wrap up this video. We will update you on Jeshua's hunting area here in the coming days. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe, like the video, comment down below, and we'll catch you in the next one.